Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So I got an exciting adventure to tell you about. We are still working, excuse the mess over here, I know. Still working on our Jaguar XJS. And you know, this vlog basically catching up on what I'm going through on this particular XJS. 1989, by the way, and it is the V12. So picked this up out of a neighbor's inheritance sale. I guess he had it parked in front, had a for sale sign on it, picked it up, brought it home, cleaned it all up, made a list of what we wanted to go through and look up, started reading all the forums, bought the service manual, etc. So where we're at right now is the engine is running. It's purring along real nicely. I still need to set the throttle cable and a couple of, well, the kickdown sensor once we get out, you know, roadworthy and everything. I still need to flush the brake fluid all the way out. I just did it once, so I want to do it one more time, get all that pure. I went with .4 this time. It calls for .3 or 4. I'm going to go ahead and use the .4. So, and I ordered some replacement radiator caps. So in my adventures, this is the Lucas ignition, and everything on this car says Lucas, even the little lenses on the lights. And so got the engine running all good, got it all cleaned up in the front here. Still waiting on a couple of parts down here. The if we can ever find one, the front spoiler and then that little splash pan thing. But here's a couple of things to look for. I couldn't figure out for the life of me why my HVAC wouldn't come on. I'd put the key in on or run, not start, but on or run. I'd turn on the HVAC for the, you know, the Delray Mark III. I'd turn the switch for the fan blowers and nothing. So started logically with the fuses, and then went over here on the passenger side and dropped the blower itself, looked in there, looked at the Darlington transistor. Everything looked really clean in there. Even the brushes on the motor still had a bunch of meat left. So that wasn't the issue. I hooked it up to a 12 volt battery, and it came immediately on full blast. It was great. So I knew the motors in the blowers were okay, at least this one, and probably that one on the driver's side. So I started troubleshooting all the connections. So went through all here, took out the ECU, found a blown resistor, so replaced the ECU. Went through and actually polished the connectors. I mean, they were silver, and by the time I got done with them, they were gold again. It was wonderful. Got some dielectric grease on there just to prevent any arcing or shorting, and not a lot, just some coating, and make them a little bit easier to take apart, because the only way I could figure out to get those connectors apart down there was 2 sets of channel locks and just pull. Put them on the connector, not real hard, but just, you know, enough to grip them, because I couldn't get them with a rag, my hands, my gloves. So anyway, got everything all lubed up, and then went through, and I think the previous video to this one, I showed you, I went in there and I actually retensioned the prongs on every one of the fuses. Found a bunch of corrosion over in this one on the other side, on the driver's side. This one, not too bad. So I checked all the relays. Found out a couple of relays were bad. The heater timer and the turn signal flasher was shot. So got replacement one of those, and same part number, everything. Got it all back together. So I got the fuses back in there, and I was doing my troubleshooting with my multimeter, trying to figure out why I wasn't getting power down here to the brown fused 10 amp tube fuse there, that wire. Chased it all the way back over to the driver's side, and let's jump over there because I want to show you, catch you up to speed where we're at on this. And again, this is something to look for. I mean, this is just this particular car, but if you're out there troubleshooting and you can't figure something out, maybe it's the identical issue I have. So, you know, I think I told you about this, that red sensor. Whoops. Where is she? There is a temperature sensor. There she is. See that red one right there with those 2 wires. So if that shorts out, or if it's bad, that prevents your blowers from coming on at all. And they actually go into, well, you can hardly see it because that wire's in the way, but there is the bottom of your heater core hose, and that is your temperature that tells your system to actually trigger on, because you don't want to blow cold air. That's one of the neat features of the Jaguar is, you know, they didn't want to have cold air blowing in until the engine was warmed up. So if that sensor goes bad, that's one thing. Tested that. Works good, actually arced it over, you know, paper clipping the prongs, and still couldn't get it working. So I went through, and man, I went down in here. I was getting ready to pull the console, and I was thinking, well, maybe it's the blower switch over there itself. And decided that, well, let's just chase over here. Let's get up, let's drop the fuse box, let's clean it all up, make sure the wires are all good and connected appropriately. Let's check all of our timers, see all that Lucas stuff up in there. Let's clean up our main relays, our fog light and our headlight relay here. And let's see if maybe some different fuses would work. And well, nope, that didn't work. So chased over here, checked the switch here, checked all the door panel switches, everything I could possibly figure out. And as you see, our ignition switch has been dropped. And I'm gonna show you why that is. Come with me. Let me turn my light off so I don't burn up my battery. All right, come with me. So this is something to look for, because I believe I have found the problem. There's a wire disconnected right there, and guess what color it is? It's brown, and that is a power wire, and it should be on that right there, crimped down appropriately, but for some reason it has come loose. So we're going to put that back together and clean up these contacts and put this switch back up in there. And this is the one we bought that was the replacement. And we'll see if that's our issue. And I'm pretty sure it is, because a brown wire feeding power being disconnected, the contacts in that plate behind this plastic thing here, as you see, it does say Lucas right there. If they're not grounding, then there's a problem. So I went back and I looked at the schematics on the battery feed. I think it's figure 4.1 in the service manual, something like that, or actually in the drawing schematics on the electrical for the 1989 supplement. But anyway, it'll tell you which contacts need to connect for each thing. And I went back and looked, and look at that brown wire right there. So I want to give a shout out for something I found that I didn't even think about it. But that is these, I think it's called a biofuse. This little thing was about 19 bucks, and it has every size fuse that you need for your car, with the exception of that big 50 multi-fuse, okay? And boy, I hope these folks are watching, because I am impressed. You get a fuse puller that's angled, so you can get in tight, hard to reach places. You have a little pry tool here if you need to pull a tubed fuse. But look at this. You have every fuse you can ever imagine. A 2. You have your 3s. You have your 15s, your 20s, all the way down to, oh, actually, it even has the 7.5s. Where are those? Right here, I think. And they're colored for the universal color. Now, the reason I want to give these folks a shout out is because these fuses have a label. They're actually white marked on the end of it, and makes it really easy when you're going back to confirm you've got the right fuse in the right spot. But the other thing is, these prongs are quite a bit thicker than any other fuse that you can find, like these cheapo crap here that I got that are supposed to be wonderfully coated with this magical substance to keep the electricity flowing through them. But as you see, there's a marking on there, but how are you going to read that when you're way up underneath your fuse box? But look at that. It's got some sort of a coating on these prongs, and those things are so thin. They're like a razor blade edge. Whereas compared to this biofuse, they're all nice and neat and got a really appropriate thickness to them. So when you actually put these in your fuse box, they stick. I mean, they're in there good. You can still see a little bit of the little element in there that would burn out in the events if the fuse pops. So you can't see them as well as these clear ones unless they're like your 10 amp or your, what's this pink one here? Your 4, right? So, you know, the darker colors are a little bit harder to see, but use a multimeter and you got no problem, right? So, wonderful little setup. You get 120 in here. They also have a version that has 250 pieces. I didn't think I needed that many. But, you know, I was just brainstorming and I thought maybe these fuses are bad. So I'm so glad I bought that. You might see a light bulb here. Well, you are. And I went back and I checked all of the light bulbs in this car. And do you see any issue with those bigger ones? Why, yes, this one. Okay, you also see a double filament light bulb here. So on this car, if you don't already know, this has labels on every single, well, there are markings right here. It tells you what bulb to use. There's your Lucas 21 watt, and it has a part number, P51. And guess what? That's the appropriate bulb that will cross-reference to any other Sylvania, whatever. I actually found the Hella ones. I've already put them in, but exact OEM replacement. And when I pulled these bulbs out, they're made everywhere. This one says Germany. This one here is a Sylvania. This one here is, I don't even know what it is. It just says a couple of numbers. But see that little button there? See how it's kind of, let's get over here in the white so you can see it. There you go. See how those buttons are offset? And if you look at this one, they are not. Well, those will only go in one particular style of socket, and these will not. So when I popped the lens cover off back here, because, you know, I remember I was getting that bulb out indicator on the dash, I pulled this out, and lo and behold, I found this dual element, just random marked bulb with 2 connections on it in here. And if you'll look, you can tell real easy that that only has 1 connection. There's not 2. There's no 2 prongs down in there to connect. It's 1 wire. Same with down here. This thing was just sitting in there like that. And look, it heated up, double element, and just, it ate away all of the chrome, reflective. So that was on this side. I was like, oh no. But look at that. This one's all nice and shiny down there, no issue. So they had the completely wrong bulb in this and destroyed the chrome lens there. I guess you call that, or lens housing. But I went back, I looked at every single bulb, and I got the Hella. I went with good name brand Hellas on everything. So here, 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 here. And these cross-reference exactly. They are 21/5 watts. This one here probably puts out 20 watts. And of course it's gonna get hotter. Now, even with that being said, the tiniest bulbs on this car, aside from your dash, are these little side marker indicator lights. And that was on the passenger. This one was on the driver's side, all corroded up and everything. And those are, to get those into these little side markers, connectors, you have to use your fingers about like that on the very tip end of it and just slowly push it in and then twist it 90 degrees. Yeah, that was fun. Your turn signals up here, however, are dual filament, and they do have the offset buttons. So those require the, let's go back over here. Those do require these types of bulbs with the offset button like that and the dual connector on the bottom, because your turn flasher up there will stay on and get brighter. Back here in the back, it just turns off and comes back on for your turn signal there. So those are just these single filament bulbs. See in there, you can see the one little filament, and it calls for that in the service manual as well as on the lens housing part number. So yeah, they all cross-referenced right over. I also found these, which were actually correct, and these are just the little side marker lights that go right here. So I've already got the new ones in there with some dielectric grease. I connected I cleaned up all the contacts and everything like that. But sure enough, you know, if you're looking at the bulb housing where it goes in there, see if you've got just one connector. If the bottom of your bulb has two and it's in there, it's shorting out like this one did, and not a good fun place to be. I went ahead and bought the festoon bowls to go into our license or number plate, if you're in England, lenses here, as well as the ones that go in here. And then I went ahead and got the ones that go inside the interior. I did not do the ones that go on the door. Those seem like they're working well. So a couple of things to look for: check your bulbs, check your fuses, and check your wires. Brown wire syndrome strikes again. Luckily, I kept the old, excuse me, luckily I kept the old one here, so I know which wire goes where. So sure enough, it goes right over there on the side. And I don't want to pull this one apart. It looks okay, but I want to go back and use this. Obviously I can't use the key cylinder or lock cylinder unless I took it to a locksmith, and then I'm going to have that same problem getting that out, putting it in here. I don't want to do that. Just solder or crimp that wire back on will be good. I'll retape it, connect it up. I think we found our problem. But shout out to BioFuse. Thank you so much for actually having these available to the public. I mean, it says it's a commercial fuse set, but boy, what a lifesaver. I'll stand by that for a long, long time. These are going on the curb for somebody that needs them for their cheaper car that they're just trying to get running, I guess. Yeah, so a couple of things to check: your lenses, your part numbers, your bulb numbers, your connections, and your fuses, and go with BioFuse, man. I'll tell you, this stuff, it's great. It's great. These little fuses right here. All right, more to come when I get that ignition switch fixed, and we'll get it back in there. This is where we started with this car, and I don't know, maybe I pulled something when I was putting it back up in there. Who knows? Thank God I found that, because that's one thing to knock off the list to hopefully get our air conditioner heater blowers back in this car operable, and then we'll get this thing running and get it all buttoned back up, and then clean it, get our new plate for our independent rear suspension mounted up in there. Guess what? I got the bolts. I got the nuts and bolts. Okay, so yeah, they're hardened and everything. Same 24 pitch threads on them, and that'll go in there nicely. We'll turn the car around. I'll power wash all up underneath the bottom. Yeah, and then we got these little plastic, I don't know what you call them, buttons or something, hole seals that need to go up underneath their underneath the car, but basically they're like drain holes that need to plug back up. So I got those, and then just Mickey Mouse stuff, you know, transmission fluid and filter, and brake pads, and flush that brake fluid, and there we go. So, all right, folks, more to come in the future. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.